Oh no, please, God, no, no, don't make me do this, nerds. No, it's a tier list, isn't it? So a lot of you guys have been sending me this over and over and over again. Some of you with the obvious tagline, "Oh man, you won't believe where Surtr ended up," and I'm just like, they added a tier that was specifically only for him. Just placed him above everything. I wouldn't be surprised, but okay, we're gonna go over the tier list here and just see where the meta is. That's the fun of it. It's the opinion of the meta, and guys, that's what I'm trying to say here. Opinion, take it as a grain of salt. Also, since this is the arena tier list, reminder, armored units are going to be a preference. But I tried to pitch the idea of a Aether Raid tier list, and I realized that there are a lot of Cavaliers at the top of that list. So I think we're gonna skip out on that one for right now. All right, so there is not much of a change here when I look at the lower tiers here. There's pretty much the same that I remember from last time, but there is one character that is missing. Saber, who I'm pretty sure was down here at tier 7, possibly even 8, is not here, and I don't see him up at tier 5, so this bodes well for him. Means that he's probably gotten a pretty great refine and will be doing just fine. See? Okay, I can't make that into a really good joke. Garnif is tier 5, and I can kind of understand why that is, but I also can kind of see him competing with the other Red Tome units, because there's a lot of free Red Tome units, and he's at least up there in that regard, but, he does have a very strange tome. It's kind of niche, but I think I would probably pair him with the rest of the free Red Tome units, honestly. Speaking of that, you do have competition. I kind of wonder where Aversa ended up when it comes to that. Oh, Aversa did end up in tier 4, which I guess it makes sense. She's still one of the best free-to-play units that you can get, or at least could get. Hopefully she comes back with Heroic Grails. And, yeah, just in general, fantastic unit. Seriously. Great free unit. Also, sharing the free spot as well. Small Zura over there on the right side, sharing her spot with, well, Inigo from, Inigo? God, I can't say his name correctly right now. But, I think her stat line's a little bit better than Inigo's, but, still serve the same purpose. Ooh, well, look at that. Saber got up to tier 3, guys. That's pretty impressive considering that refined. Seriously, that's what happens when you get a really great one. The distant counter effect, as long as he has a special effect up with additional stats, is really nice. And with his kit already, as well as any sort of abilities like Special Spiral recently, you could really make a very, very powerful, offensive or defensive Saber. It's gonna actually pretty exciting to just see that happen. Ilger is also sharing this tier, I see over there, with Halloween Niles and Legendary Lucina. Sure, I mean, her stat line is offensive enough, and she does have a really good weapon that will benefit her there, too. It's I always find it odd how colored daggers and colored bows exist, but, that's just me. Well, I wasn't expecting to see Harid already up here on the tier list, but he is there in tier 2. And, a lot of people were making fun of his speed and going, his speed is terrible, but you need to remember that he does have a weapon that has Omni Breaker as long as, his conditions are met, which is a debuff, which debuffs come in so many forms now. And not only that, it's not just stat debuffs, it's, weight and panic and things like that. So it's a good enough weapon for him. I don't know where I would place him myself, honestly. Him and Yilger are kind of like in a spot where I'm just like, I don't know. But Mailcorn, Adrift Mailcorn over there at tier 2 as well. But I'm sorry, I scroll up and I see the obvious. Yeah, tier 1. There's your meta right now, guys. Hey, look, it's all armored. But it's pretty much what I can really just say, for the meta, at least, when it comes to arena. Yeah, you made Surtr. Surtr has a really great weapon, a really great C skill, and a power crept A skill. Gee, I wonder where he would end up. He also has some pretty potent BST, second only to, the cute dragon children. let's just see what else there is. I'm just trying to look at all of this. Female Adrift Corrin is, of course, over there. Shares the same tier as the male counterpart, and no surprises there. Honestly, those two are power crept in some forms. It's just really alarming to see Noe all the way down there now, you know, comparatively, because, well, she was so potent. She still is, but it's just seeing these other dragons take up that mantle is pretty crazy at times. I guess the only real change from here on out is Makoto. Makoto, of course, is right around Loki's level, which, yeah, that's her stat line. I guess we'll just have to roll with that. You have a staff unit, you know, you're going to use a staff unit as you should. It's just kind of the obvious, honestly. But a lot of you guys have been asking me to take a look at Gamepedia and their tier list. So, of course, I decided, sure, why not? It's a little bit hard for, you know, at least me to read this, but I will say that there is not much of a change when it comes to the tier list. In fact, you're going to notice several obvious, you know, mirrors here, just kind of how it works, at least in the upper tier list. But I'm kind of surprised that Mia does end up a little bit higher in the tier list on this one than Veronica, and I think that's because of her weapon. At least, you know, Mia has a very, very strong one. Like, seriously, being able to reset, you know, the skill cooldown back to the initial levels is pretty powerful, but Veronica is also extremely powerful. Just looking at that is, you know, you can see the differences. You know, I think that speaks more towards the meta, but you're going to see, obviously, a lot of the similarities here. In some regards, some differences. Yulger's actually a lot further down, if I recall. She's like way down here, next to what looks to be, yeah. Let's just scroll down there, next to Olwen. That takes me back a bit. But I don't really agree with Olwen being there. So either way, but there's just not too much of a difference there, guys, really, when it comes to these tier lists. The thing is, I think it speaks more towards the meta right now when you look over a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of the similarities, of course, and it's just kind of like, you know, oops, all armored, you know, instead of just... You're going to be noticing that a lot, and it still speaks volumes about the meta as it is right now, but that is your meta for the day. And since a lot of you have been asking me to take a look, there you guys go. I went and took a look at the tier list that was updated, jokingly about Surtr, of course, but that's how it is. As always, guys, check out the tier list in the description and just take a look at where your characters ended up. I just noticed that Adrift Camilla's actually down there in tier 3. Good for her. She's a strong unit as well. So, yeah, God. I've noticed that a lot of the more recent characters are also up here too. Gee, I wonder as if there's, you know, might have been a little bit of a power creep going on recently. But, yeah, that is your meta right now, nerds. How do you feel about it? Do tell me in the comments below. Catch you nerds later.